Spring Thunder is brought to you by the National Wild Turkey Federation, Woodhaven Custom Calls, Federal Premium Ammunition, Muddy Outdoors, ScoutLookWeather.com, and Cabela's.
Thanks for joining us this week on Cabela's Spring Thunder. Before we get to the episode, I want to touch on a new feature of the Spring Thunder website, and that is the Turkey Talk podcast. You'll see the block located directly under the player there. We've already got a few podcasts in there recorded. We're going to be doing more of them as the spring progresses, so keep an eye on that page over on the Gobbler Watch, and hope you enjoy the Turkey Talk podcast with us. But on this week's episode, I'm going to dive off into some calling tips, and more specifically, I'm going to show you a hunt that we had on this same property where we were working an old stubborn turkey. We're also going to show you a prescribed burning segment from Andy and David. It's a great tactic to use this time of year on your property to improve the turkey habitat and your hunting this spring.
Welcome to Cabela's Spring Thunder. Today is February the 28th. We're about a month out of Tennessee's turkey season, and David and I are back here at one of our favorite places here in Tennessee to hunt. As you may remember, last year we had an unbelievable hunting opening day of season whenever David's dad Roy and Aaron were able to double up on a couple gobblers only about 100 yards away from here.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you notice in the video, Aaron even showed an aerial view how green this field actually was. And the reason behind that is we had actually done a prescribed fire on this field. And the whole time it was there was a lot of fuel on the ground last year. It had gotten real thick, hadn't been burned in years. The field hadn't been turned, just been cut for hay. So we came back here, we actually did a prescribed fire to the field and burned off all that thatch and overseeded wheat and clover. Now today we're going to talk a little bit about prescribed fire and how it can benefit you. I'm going to talk to you about the number one tool that you got to have for a prescribed fire. That's your drip torch. This is when it's going to help you establish that fire. And what you want to do with your fuel in here, you're not going to put straight gas, you're not going to put straight diesel. You're going to put a mixture. And usually we run a 50-50, so 50% gas, 50% diesel. And the reason behind that is the gas actually is going to hold that flame all the way to the ground, while the diesel is going to give you a longer residual burn to help establish the fire.
All right, guys, when you're doing a prescribed burn, 90% of the time, you're going to want to have a disked up or tilled up perimeter around the field that you're burning. Now, in this case, we weren't lucky enough to have that. So what we've got is some tools that we use to keep the fire from getting out of hand. One is a blower. Whenever that fire gets right to the edge of the field or the edge of the woods and you don't want it to go any further, it's real easy. You just go up and blow right straight the direction that the fire came from, real close down to it, and it'll put it out pretty quick. Now, the number one thing that you really need to have is a water tank or some kind of a big sprayer on the back of a four-wheeler or a side-by-side. This will allow you to get to that fire quickly and get it out before it gets out of hand. All right, what we're fixing to do right now is create a fire break. And the way we do that is by setting a backfire. A backfire is a fire that is kind of creeps into the wind. So pretty much like today, the wind is blowing from the back of the field out to the front. This backfire will creep into the wind and create a fire break. So whenever you set your head fires in the rest of the field, they'll burn out and they'll meet your backfire, and they'll pretty much put each other out. And after that, your field will be completely burned and be ready to start planting.
As you can tell, we had a really good burn on this last field of ours. It's the first one that actually cooperated for us. It burned slow and it burned hot, so it cleaned a lot of the thatch off the ground. I mean, you can rake it back and you see soil right there. So that's what it's going to do for you. It's going to allow you to see bare mineral soil, so you have good soil to seed contact when you plant it, because we're going to come back and we're going to plant wheat and clover over the top of this for our deer and turkeys. On top of that, you're actually eliminating the competing vegetation, so it allows your seedlings to get it well established before anything starts to regrow.
All right, well, we just got the four-wheelers and the sprayers and everything loaded up and put away after a long day of burning these fields, getting them ready for turkey season.
Yeah, that's right. Hopefully some of these tips we've given you on prescribed fire will help you guys with your land management and wildlife management. But keep in mind that if it's not your land, you better have that landowner involved, and you always need a burn permit. And it's always a good idea to call the local fire department, because when these people call in and say, hey, there's smoke in the area, he knows exactly what's going on.
Now on this hunt, I was running a second angle camera. Jared Keeson was filming Kurt, and we were on this stubborn bird from the get-go early in the morning. He was gobbling a lot on the limb. The bird obviously had a spot in mind that he wanted to get to where he'd been comfortable strutting in the past, and it was a long way from his roost trees. You could see this turkey traveled almost a mile to get to this spot up on this old roadway. In this type of situation, many people will overcall to this turkey. He's an old stubborn bird. He's been through this rodeo once before with us, so I didn't want to educate him anymore. He's in a spot where he's comfortable. He's trying to call me to him. I'm going to resort to what I call the Lonesome Hint. I'm yelping 5 to 8 times maybe, and then I'm pausing and listening for a response. Then I'm coming back with more excitement, and I'm increasing the volume of my calling. I finally decide to shut up on this turkey, and it takes him nearly 30 minutes. I hear him gobbling out in front of me the entire time, but I will not call to him. I want him to think that I've left the area. That should bring him in looking for that lost hen.
Oh, that bird tested our patience. What a hunt. I can't believe that happened.
He's an old turkey. That's just how they act. They're just real cautious like that. What ultimately brings in this bird is me going completely silent for a long period of time. And in this case, the old stubborn bird thought that I'd left the area. He came in looking for that lost hen, and we were tickled to get this old stubborn gobbler out of the gene pool over here on this property.
Right now I want to tell you about plain yelping. Probably the most consistent call that everybody should know how to use. Clucking and purring is the soft calling that turkeys do all the time to communicate with each other, but the main one would be plain yelping. Turkeys plain yelp. That's how they communicate. It's how we discuss. Plain conversation that I would have with another gentleman would be me just talking to him. Hey, how's your day? What's going on? that's just entertaining the, hey, I see you, I see another turkey, how are you doing? Or either I'm looking to find another turkey. The emotion gets into it when they're looking for you. But the plain yelp is when they usually have just a contented hen and with other turkeys, and just has the front end that's soft, and then go into a simple 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 note. So that's the basic communication with wild turkeys.
Hey guys, David Williams here with Cabela Spring Thunder. I want to take a minute to talk to you about the Tater Series turkey vests from Cabela's. These things are fantastic. We've been using them the past couple of years, and they've got extra gear pockets to help you carry all your gear, your turkey mask, your turkey gloves, and on top of that, your call pockets are conveniently located to help you call that bird more efficiently. They're more secure, so if you're making a move, you don't get any unwanted noise. And then you got the extra thick cushion in the back to help you on those long sits, and a pocket to help you carry the bird out this season.
That's going to do it for this week's episode. A lot of the turkey seasons in the South are going to be here before you know it. Actually, Florida's South youth season was just this past weekend. Scott Ellis of Woodhaven Custom Calls took out his son and a little girl, and they were both able to have success. He said that the dominant, more mature birds had all the hens gathered up, but the younger 2-year-olds and 3-year-old subordinate toms were off by themselves and running into the call. So that's a good sign for Florida's North opener coming up and some of those other southern states. The temperatures are warming up. It's looking more and more like an early spring, so keep that in mind heading into some of these seasons. But that's going to do it for us. If you're not already a member of the National Wild Turkey Federation, please click on the link in the corner of our screen, go over to their page and become one. But thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Monday right back here for the next episode of Cabela Spring Thunder.